20 years of scaling businesses, and that includes lots of sales. So not just businesses of my own businesses that I've invested in, but also businesses that I've started up, and also clients' businesses that I've worked for as well. You see, businesses like humans are not generic. So figuring out the basics of what's needed is really important for any business. And I'm going to give you that in this podcast. Let's begin with the foundation of you got to have the right mindset in place. See, everything always begins with mindset, because if you haven't got the right mindset, everything just stops right there. It just stops right there. Listen, if you're listening to this podcast now, and you've probably listened to a few other podcasts of mine, whether it be this one or the other episodes that we do or the other podcasts that we do, you'll understand that it stops when you think you know it all. When you think you know it all, or you've got the confidence, I love the confidence of people that just go at it and think, yeah, okay, I'm really going all in, and they start to do it for a couple of weeks, and then they think they know it all. It stops right there. This is called the Kruger effect. So in psychology, it's called the Kruger effect, where you start something out and then you become blindsided. It's almost like, when the discoverers went out there to find out what's beyond the world being flat, they realized it was round. So a lot the Dunning-Kruger effect is the flat earthers of the time that went, okay, well, look, if you keep sailing over there, you're going to fall off the earth, because that's all they knew at the time. They could see the edge of the ocean, and if you go that far, you're going to fall off. So it's very similar, because of the ability not to see and not to learn and want to grow and be open-minded. The psychology of somebody stops their growth because they think they know it all already. They think the earth is flat. So what's the point in exploring any further? Yeah, well, there's a lot more to the earth just being around as well. There's the whole universe. Yeah, universe of knowledge beyond it. And as soon as we start to realize that we know next to nothing, then that's where we really start to grow. And that's an exciting journey. Yet the reason I say this is the first step is because a lot of people don't get past that line. They think they know it all already. And if they think they know it all already, then there's no room for growth. It just hits. Imagine behind the eyes, behind your eyes right now, you're receiving information, or behind your ears, you're receiving information. There's a barrier, there's a wall, and that wall has got to be it's got to be transparent. It's got to be able to allow things to flow through it. If it's a solid brick wall, then nothing passes through it. So there's no point even talking about how you're going to receive any information. And then the reason I'm saying this is the number one thing is because that is the reason why a lot of people that I've seen, as I've hired great salespeople, I've trained great salespeople, I've even created, salespeople that are earning 100K, 200K plus. That isn't just entrepreneurs, by the way. That isn't just business owners. They are employees within businesses. Now, the thing that they all have in common is that they know that they don't know it all yet. They know that there is a lot more to learn. And it works with anything in scaling in any business, is that you must understand that if anybody else has made it work, then you can too. Yeah. In your own way. You're not going to follow their exact paths. You're not just going to read a book and it's going to get you there. You're not going to follow a process and it's going to get you there. It's not generic. Humans are not generic and businesses are not generic. You'll hear me say that quite a lot. But one common ground is that if they think they know it all, or you think you know it all, then guess what? There's no learning. There's no need for growth. So the brain just shuts down from any new learning because you already know it all. Now, this doesn't happen in business either. It happens in everything in life, doesn't it? Think about let's say you went to start being an F1 driver. You jumped in an F1 car and you think, well, if someone else can do it, I can do it. I've driven a few cars before, so I must know everything about F1. I've watched a few things on the TV. I've watched the Grand Prix, so I know everything about an F1 car. But when you actually get in an F1 car, guess what? You fucking stall it, okay? So there's some lessons to learn. But, if you had Lewis Hamilton here, you're picking him because he's got a great first name, by the way. If you had Lewis Hamilton here, then do you think that he could teach you some stuff? Of course he could. So to listen to anything like this podcast or read a book or go out there and do some of your own research or your own learning and be resilient to that and resist it, then you're stopping any new advice or new learnings coming in. So that is one of the biggest things that I see in sales, is that people think they know it all already. Okay. So they're not prepared to try new things because they already know it all. One of the biggest BS beliefs I ever hear is that, especially in the UK, and I wish I could just shake this out of the UK completely, is that they believe that they don't need a script. Now, why don't they need a script? Because I don't want to sound robotic. Yeah. Well, you're not going to sound robotic if you've learned to script. That's like saying, if I learn my ABCs, that every word I say is going to sound robotic. It doesn't. I just know the, A to Z, and I know English. So I don't sound robotic. I only sound robotic when I'm first starting to learn it. So the roboticness actually comes from you not knowing your shit. Yeah. Which you only learn how to know your shit by writing it down. And when you write it down and you remember it, well, guess what? You've just learned to script. Okay. So bullshit beliefs is probably one of the second biggest things that really get in people's way when scaling any sort of new revenue or sales into your business or personal income, and the commission from these sales. Because if you think you know it all, you're right. You do know it all, and that's the end of the world for and end of your journey. Not the end of the world, the end of your journey of growth and becoming an A player in what you do. So, mindset and psychology has got to come first. So that's why I mentioned that first. One of the biggest things that you need to understand, and that's some of the biggest things that I understand from working with a lot of people, is I know when I'm sitting with somebody if they're going to be a good investment, if they're going to be a good partner to work with. Because if they think they know it all already, then there's no growth. So if I was to invest £100,000 into a business, and that person thought they'd know it all already, well, my £100,000 isn't going anywhere, is it? Because it's not growing. You see, businesses are people. Yeah. Here's another big learning. Is it second or third? I'm going to give you all and just see what gold nuggets you can take from this podcast. Because even if you could just take one gold nugget and apply it, then you're going to improve your sales in your life. So businesses are organizations. An organization, think of the word organism. An organism is a collection of cells, all working together to become this organism, which could then be an apex predator. It's a collection of survival of the fittest. So within an organization, it's a collection of people. And the organization is that if you look at company brands versus people brand, personal brand, then the personal brand, think of Virgin versus Richard Branson, for example. Yeah. And you wouldn't think that Richard Branson is a personal brand, but it is. Richard Branson has got his values and what he stands for. And if something starts to deface him in the media, then he would fight it to save his personal brand. So look at the amount of followers that Richard Branson has versus Virgin. Yeah. You're talking like, I haven't got the exact numbers in front of me, but they're significantly more. I'm talking like 5 times, 10 times more, into the millions and millions compared to what the company would have. So this just goes to show that in 2024, it is people-focused businesses that will win. And that is another big lesson that I've had in scaling these businesses and their sales. So what does that relate to back for sales? Why do you need to know that? Because when you're working with a business, you may be thinking that you need to solve a business problem. So when you're working as a salesperson to a business and you say, hey, look, I sell to businesses, we don't. You sell to people. You sell into that organization. You're solving the problems of the people in the business. You're not solving the business problems. You're solving the people's problems. And understanding that everybody is a person allows you then to recognize how important psychology skills are for you. Yeah, I'm not saying you have to be a therapist, but understanding the basics of emotional intelligence, understanding psychological capital, understanding how to have great communication, behavior of people, drivers of people. And these are all podcast episodes that we talk about in the Sales Drive podcast and the A Players podcast, previously A Players podcast. So you don't need to understand this stuff, yeah? Because one of the biggest learnings that I've had is that you're in the business of people, yeah? Whether you're a salesperson, whether you're a manager, whether you're an entrepreneur or intrapreneur, yeah? An entrepreneur within a business that makes a big impact, you're going to need to understand human behavior and psychology, because it all comes down to that. Why? Well, yeah, okay, you need to understand finance, you need to understand marketing, you need to understand sales, but underpinning it all, it is all working with humans. And humans is just the shell that you see in front of you. What you're actually looking at is the brain. You're looking at the psychology of that person. You're looking at how that person makes decisions, how that person behaves, what drives them. Yeah. So this is why it's called Sales Drive Podcast, by the way. Not just because you should be listening to it whilst driving your car each day, so you get lots of great tips, but understanding the drivers that drive you as a person. Because if you want to get more sales and if you want to make a bigger impact and you want to increase your revenue or you want to make more money, then you're going to need to self-drive yourself. You need to drive every morning, get up there and work yourself to the best person that you can be. I don't mean work yourself to death. I mean work yourself into the right state. You see, humans will have ups and downs all the time. Here's another learning along the 20-year journey. Everybody will have up and down days. Nobody is perfect. Nobody is one track, that person all the time. Now, personality traits, everyone can sort of have a certain personality traits. A trait is very stable in somebody. They tend to have that all the time. It's a long-term thing. It's difficult to change a personality trait. But someone's state can shift from time to time. If you think about an emotion or a mood, an emotion is how you've acted to the motion of something. Yeah, you've become, something has made you feel that way. You've been emotional about something. A mood is a more longer term, that you'd stay in that mood more often. But the emotions get you into that mood in the first place. The reason I'm going to the psychology of this is because you need to understand it. You need to understand this as a high income earner salesperson, that your energy, and I did a YouTube video just on this as well, so go and check that out. Your energy of how you manage your own emotions and your own state and your own mood, yeah, is what is going to be key here. You don't need to change and fight against your personality traits. And by the way, there is only 5. Well, it comes back down to the sum of the big 5 personality traits, which I talk about in other episodes. So check out that episode on personality traits as well. But the big 5 personality traits is what could sum up basically everybody and what they are like. So if you understand psychology, then you'll understand their drivers. And if you understand their drivers, you will understand how they make buying decisions. And if you understand buying decisions, guess what? You can then shape your whole business. You can shape your team of salespeople. You can shape your marketing approach to how you help people to buy more often. Yeah. Nobody wants to be closed. Nobody wants to be sold to, but people want to buy. People like to buy. They like to buy on their terms, not your fucking terms, Mr. Sales, pushy salesperson. That doesn't work. We're not talking in the Sales Drive podcast of how you become this sales closer. It's not about that. It's about how you, as a whole company, organization, remember the organism, start to create lifetime value. How you start to nurture the right clients. And I use the word client, not customer, because they keep coming back. They want to work with you. They want to partner with you. Even better than a client is a partner. Yeah. A lot of when I used to do business coaching, the people that I used to work with go, Lewis, I would like to partner with you. Yeah. They want to partner with me. They see me as somebody that is on a journey with them. They're more than a client. They're a partner. Yeah. So think about it. How do you create partners? There's another big learning that I've had in 20 years. You want to be looking for, how do you earn the right? So you can't just go out there and start telling somebody. You can't just go out there and say, I'm going to get this many customers because of my fucking email campaign or something. You've got to earn the right through your email campaign. You've got to earn the right through your podcasts like this. I mean, this is like episode 40, we're approaching episode 50. And the people that are the raving fans of the podcast, the ambassadors of this podcast, are the people that are sharing it, and that's why the followers and subscribers are going up, because I've earned the right to help them. I've showed them that this is how you achieve this 100K goal. I've showed you already before we had the name change to Sales Drive. This is how you become an A player. So any episode before episode 40 is how you become an A player. Go and listen to them. Go tune in. Now, that has now become a library in their pocket that they can go back to. And whenever they have a challenge, they just look for the topic or do a search for it. And it gives them the topic of how they go out there and make the most of any opportunity. So other big lessons that I've had in sales of owning these businesses as well. It's one of the biggest ones. Accountability. Now, accountability means different things to different people. Here's how accountability used to mean to me is that you've got some KPIs and you've got to meet them. And then accountability led to the point of, okay, now you didn't meet your KPIs, which let's be honest and real, that a lot of people have their own. I always talk about the thermostat, yeah? They have a standard that they think is acceptable currently. But a lot of people like to talk about how they're a high performer. And I'm not just talking about salespeople now. I'm talking about entrepreneurs and business owners as well. Yeah. They'll talk about how they're a high performer, but they won't fucking act like one. Because they don't know what one looks like. And that's not their fault. It's just that they haven't been educated on it yet. And I don't mean education as in like, no one's taught you about it. They haven't been exposed to a high performing environment. I talk a lot about hyper performance. Yeah, a hyper performance environment is a high performance would be growing at a normal rate, or growing at a great rate. A hyper performance is growing beyond that percentage of growth. My businesses have grown at 35%. Yeah, each year, grown at 35%. Hyper performance. If you look at what the growth rate is, then businesses tend to grow between 20 to 25%, and that's seen as a high-performing business, a high growth rate business. So what goes beyond that is what we're talking about. And that, for me, hyper growth rate is the standard that we do. Yeah. Now, look at some other businesses in the world. They might think that is pretty shit growth at 35%. Okay. So what do you hold your growth to accountable to? And the key here is another big learning for you to take away from this and my 20 years experience is, what are you holding your accountability for yourself and your own business? Are you making objective decisions? Are you making objective measures and making decisions off the back of that based on data? Okay. So the data does not lie. The data does not lie. You saying, oh yeah, we're doing all right at the moment, we're growing. Or, yeah, I'm doing okay at the moment. I'm doing really well in my job. Or, oh, my job sucks. It's really terrible at the moment. Okay, well, how much did you make? Oh, well, I've had a pay increase this year. Okay, well, you're doing better than last year then. Because you wouldn't have had that pay increase if you wasn't doing a great job or a good job, yeah? What about your commission that you're making? Oh, yeah, I'm a killer salesperson. Well, how much commission did you make? None. Well, you're not a killer salesperson then. And that isn't to knock anybody, but it's data, objective data to say, if your salespeople aren't making commission, then what makes them a great salespeople? Okay. Well, okay. Yeah, Lewis, I made 10 grand. I made 100 grand. Okay. Well, great. Compared to what? What sort of market are you in? If you're selling penthouses in Tokyo or in New York or Miami, then 100 grand commission is poor. Yeah. You see the standard of what you need to do. And if there's potential out there of people making 1 million plus, then $1 million, then what are they doing differently? How can you learn from it? But if you have that I know attitude, like we said, the first thing, then it all stops right there. Okay. So this is the point, isn't it? What standard are you setting yourself to? When I used to live in Australia, and it reached 40 degrees, it was fucking hot. Yeah. And then when I came back to the UK, people are complaining it's too hot when it's 25 degrees. And I'm like, this isn't hot. But it's the same as a sales environment as well. If you want to achieve great sales, then how equipped are your salespeople and how accountable are they? Are they saying that they're great salespeople and think they know it all? Or are they objectively giving data towards how they are great salespeople? And by the way, a great salesperson doesn't need to be someone that is just talking about revenue and income. Yeah. A great salesperson, maybe that just wasn't the right week for that person. I mean, ultimately, the salesperson is there to sell, and they are responsible for your revenue in your business. And if you've got a sales manager and sales director there, they need to be accountable by you as either CEO, entrepreneur, investor, whatever it may be, that you've put them in that place to perform in sales. So yeah, they do need to create revenue. But look, you can't always control the weather, let's say, but you do know that the weather will happen and you need to harvest the crops. So if you haven't seen any results within 3 months, then you'll be questionable, yeah? But it doesn't mean that it'll always rain or it'll always be bright sunny in 1 week. But what you can measure is the behaviors of what people have done. What sort of things are they learning in their own time? Not work time, by the way, in their own time. Are they prepared to go and do homework? Why is it that kids have to do 1 hour, 2 hour homework, but then when they're an adult, you get away with it, yeah? So if you're going to be a high performer or a hyper performer, go and learn in your own time and then bring it to the business, okay? Because you've got to take your career serious. Otherwise, you're in the wrong podcast, okay? Now, the second part is that behaviors could also be that they're doing the behaviors that is going to equate to more sales. So are they doing enough calls? Are they reaching out and having enough conversations? Are they doing enough quotes? Are they etc.? This then pans out to the marketing team as well, which ultimately should be listening to the Sales Drive podcast because they are responsible for the sales too. Are they doing the right campaigns? Are they doing the right activity? You see, the behaviors lead to results. Like anything, if you want to be a gold medalist, then guess what? You need to start rowing, or you need to start running, or you need to start taking some steps towards doing it. You don't just earn it because you've got this job title. So there's another big learning around accountability. You've got to keep people accountable. You don't just keep them accountable because you're being a hard-ass boss. You're keeping them accountable because that was the win-win agreement that you set up in the first place to how your business wins, yeah, and how they win. It's fair. And by you not keeping them accountable, you're not doing them as employees any favors as well, okay? So accountability is a huge part of scaling when it comes to scaling your revenue. So has this been enough information so far? Would you like more episodes like this where I'll give you gold nuggets at a blast and then keep giving them out and giving them out? Let me know in the comments. Give me your feedback of what you found most useful today. And most of all, make sure you take the gold nugget that you've got from today and you go and apply it as well. And if you need any help or have any further questions and you want to speak more one-on-one, then you just add me on LinkedIn, Lewis Haydon, and then we'll talk on there. So I hope you had a great session today listening to this, and I'll catch you in the next episode. Be great.